So Vulture funds are investment funds. They're normally based offshore, so they don't pay any taxes. They're in tax havens, and they buy up some of this third world debts that third world countries owe to the first world, and will often run up in very illegitimate circumstances in the first place. They buy it up, and they buy it up very, very cheaply because they know that the third world country has already defaulted on that debt. It's really struggling to pay it off. So they buy it up for pennies in the pound. They then take the country in question to court and sue them for the full amount of money. So you have the really appalling spectacle of countries as poor as Zambia and Liberia being taken to court in the UK and the United States for millions of pounds for a debt that has been bought by the Vulture Fund for a tiny amount of money. The problem is you're dealing with the most irresponsible companies that you can imagine. So we believed we needed a law to prohibit the activities of vulture funds, to just stop them being able to use UK courts to exploit third world countries in this way. So over the last year, we ran a campaign. Our network all around the country got active, sent postcards to their MPs, wrote letters, had meetings with their MPs, pushed and pushed and pushed. And it was really a remarkable success that after only 6 months, the government moved from saying, we don't need to do any more on vulture funds, to saying, actually, we need to think about that quite seriously. A country like Liberia, for example, which was taken to court in London at the end of last year and had over $20 million awarded against it, that will now not be able to be enforced in the UK. So what that means, essentially, we hope, is that money will stay in countries like Liberia and be able to help pay for improvements to their education, to their health service, to allow those countries to develop. There are still limitations with the Act, very much so. The Act still only covers the poorest, the very poorest countries in the world. It covers about 35 countries at the moment. And we believe that vulture activity is so repellent that it shouldn't be allowed against any developing world countries. There's no reason why a country with large amounts of poverty like Ecuador or Peru should have those kind of cases taken against them either. So we hope it's a starting point. We are also hoping that the law as passed will persuade legislators in the United States to also pass a law there, because the United States is one of the other destinations of choice for these vulture funds taking cases. And there are Congress men and women and senators who are concerned about this, and we hope that a law will be passed then in the next year. That would make a really huge indentation into the ability of vulture funds to operate. There is a little more to do. In order to get the bill through, we had to accept a compromise, and that is that in a year's time the bill will be reviewed, at which time the government have the ability to strike it off the books altogether. So we will need to keep the issue alive, but it's amazing what quite a small handful, quite a small network of activists can do if they make clear to their representatives this is something they feel really strongly about.